Penguin Random House Audio presents The Great Wave, The Era of Radical Disruption and the Rise of the Outsider by Michiko Kakutani. Read for you by Tavia Gilbert. Introduction. The Great Wave. It's one of the best-known and most widely reproduced images on the planet, an image that embodies the feelings of dread and hope that come with swift, unpredictable change. Created around 1831 by the brilliant Japanese artist Katsushika Hokusai, the image has been embraced by multiple generations and cultures, from middle-class art lovers in Edo, Tokyo, delighted to acquire a woodblock print for the price of a bowl of noodles, to the 19th century artists in France who helped formulate European modernism, to graffiti artists and skateboarders who have turned the wave into an instantly recognizable emoji and meme. Hokusai's print has been held up as a symbol of the Far East, the relationship between East and West, and the hazards of climate change and rising sea levels in the Anthropocene. The Great Wave has been copied and reimagined, adapted, sampled, recycled, parodied, appropriated, and commodified. It now appears on surfboards, shower curtains, sneakers, umbrellas, watches, socks, scarves, towels, cufflinks, coasters, and COVID masks. And somehow, none of this merchandising has diluted the power of the original image, which continues to possess the resonance it did nearly 2 centuries ago. The magic of Hokusai's print resides in both its imaginative detail, the terrifying surge of the gigantic wave looming over 3 small fishing boats like a huge pouncing tiger, and its metaphorical clout. When it first circulated in mid-19th century Japan, which was just opening to the world after decades of isolation, the image reflected that island nation's anxieties about globalization, how the ocean, which had once protected Japan, was now a gateway for the invasion of foreigners and foreign ideas. Today, the Great Wave once again embodies the dizzying turmoil and anxiety wrought by rapid change. This time, emotions belonging not to one nation, but to an interconnected world, buffeted by political, economic, and technological upheaval. The wave, of course, signifies the destructive power of nature and the chaotic forces of history that threaten to overwhelm us, sweeping away everything that feels familiar and safe. At first glance, that menacing wave is front and center in the print, but the viewer's eye is then drawn to the tiny image of Mount Fuji, way off in the distance on the horizon line, tucked under the curl of the wave by a trick of perspective. Indeed, we are reminded that the formal title of this print is actually Under the Wave off Kanagawa, and that it was published as part of Hokusai's popular woodblock series 36 Views of Mount Fuji, which offered 36 portraits of the sacred mountain, beloved in Japan by poets, painters, and pilgrims, and revered as a symbol of order and calm. The series was so popular that an extra 10 prints were added to the sequence. The images in 36 Views show groups of people and solitary individuals going about their daily lives, tending to their fishing boats and rice fields, sawing lumber and repairing roofs. Pilgrims and travelers make their way up mountains and across bridges, while those with a bit of leisure time take in a theater performance or enjoy some time in the country. Nature in these prints is beautiful, yet menacing. Sudden changes in the weather threaten to blow people's lives off course, while the sea remains a source of sustenance, but also peril. By juxtaposing the ominous swell of the ocean with the serene presence of Mount Fuji in The Great Wave, Hokusai captured both the risks of daily life and the possibility of transcendence, the dynamic between foreboding and harmony, motion and stillness, chaos and transformation. The great wave of change breaking over today's world is sweeping away old certainties and assumptions and creating an inflection point of both opportunity and danger. A confluence of crises, both immediate and long-term, has made the military acronym VUCA, meaning volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, feel like a perfect description of the third decade of the third millennium. The term was used at the Army War College in the late 1980s to describe a world that was more unpredictable than the bipolar one of the Cold War era, but it has come to feel increasingly resonant today, as one emergency, from COVID to the January 6th insurrection to Putin's invasion of Ukraine, cascades into another, as an increasingly interconnected globe amplifies the butterfly effect, famously described by Ray Bradbury in the story A Sound of Thunder. Democracy is under threat in the United States, where Donald Trump and his Republican enablers are undermining trust in our electoral system and the rule of law. And democracy is under threat around the world, with the growth of extreme right-wing populism and the efforts of authoritarian regimes to assert their influence on the global stage. COVID killed more than 6.9 million people across the globe and accelerated an array of troubling dynamics, from social isolation to political polarization to growing inequalities of income, opportunity, and access to health care. And in 2023, new developments in artificial intelligence caused some technology experts to call for a pause in the development of advanced AI, warning it could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth, which its creators do not yet understand and cannot reliably control. Looming over all of this, like Godzilla, is the dark cloud of climate change and its deadly consequences for the planet. No wonder the present feels so bewildering and calamitous that many of us are reaching to dystopian fiction to describe our predicament. 1984, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Neuromancer, 2001, A Space Odyssey, The Handmaid's Tale, It Can't Happen Here. Potent new dynamics are at work in this VUCA-verse, where technology is creating new asymmetries of power, and the process of disruption is driving change in politics, business, and technology. People are losing faith in old top-down systems, and decentralized models of organization are being embraced by activists and entrepreneurs alike. In this ecosystem, more and more energy is moving from the margins toward the center, from the grassroots upward, from startups, protesters, and outsiders, a kind of counter-movement to big tech's monopolistic consolidation of power and the efforts of authoritarian leaders to centralize power in their own hands. The historian Melvin Kranzberg once observed that technology is neither good nor bad, nor is it neutral, and the same might well be said of the growing influence of outsiders. Some have demonstrated their courage, resolve, and imaginative leadership, like Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, a former actor and comedian, elected by a landslide in 2019, who rallied the free world around his country after Vladimir Putin launched an unprovoked invasion in early 2022. Others, like Donald Trump, are harrowing case studies in the hazards posed by ignorance, venality, and narcissism, combined with shamelessness and power. The democratizing effects of the internet have given outsiders of every sort, from climate activists to white nationalists to would-be social media influencers, the ability to circumvent old-school gatekeepers. And this at a time when mistrust in the government and traditional sources of authority have been building since the economic meltdown of 2008, which fueled populist anger at institutions and elites. These developments have created a vertiginous moment that has exposed our interdependent world's profound vulnerabilities. Growing cracks appear in the post-World War II order, and the ever-accelerating pace of social and technological change have created what Alvin Toffler described 5 decades ago as future shock and adaptive breakdown.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?